Okay, so let's see if anybody makes it into this spot. I don't know. I'm going to have to figure out how to get everybody notified and share with everyone that we are going in a different room. So I'm going to go ahead and go get this, and I have to share this. So this might take me a minute. I apologize. This is frustrating. Good news, I look forward to being in person soon where I don't have to deal with the struggles. So, let's see. So we got one person in. Hopefully more people can find their ways in here as we continue to go. I'm going to try to get the link up on my phone so that we can get going. And then, hey, Emily, glad you managed to find your way in. We had some technical difficulties where the chat was disabled and I couldn't get back out to start it. So I just restarted a new live session. So I'm going to try to change really quick to get the link to RB Community so I can go ahead and change it over to people, text it over to people, the new link. So, sit tight with me here for a minute. Okay, here we go. Okay, glad everybody's finding their way over. Whoop, I have my sound on here. So, here we go, share. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'll talk to you guys for a minute as we continue. Hey, Caleb, glad you can make it. Hey, Emily. So, yeah, so one of the things on YouTube is that if you have a program that's designed for kids, if you put that it's designed for kids, it automatically disables the chat. And as I was switching from one feed to another, I didn't disable the children's programming, so we had some complications there. But I'm glad you guys are smart and you're able to figure out how to make your way over. So that cut into the first 10 minutes of our short 20-minute segment today. I just wanted to touch base with you guys because it's been a while. So first off, the church leadership is going to be voting on Monday the 14th that we might be continuing student programming in person. So that's exciting. We would start kicking it off with small groups and things like that. So we'd be able to maybe do some stuff outside for the rest of the month of September, meet in small groups, something like everybody bring their own camping chair. Let's hang out in the courtyard, or let's hang out on the lower field and just have a fun time. So I want to be with you guys desperately. I'm sick of being cooped up here in my house. Actually, some exciting stuff for Carolyn and I is that we're actually going to be leaving for this weekend for the first time. We have some friends that have a cabin up in Big Bear that hasn't been used, so they're letting Carolyn and I go up and just hang out there. So this is actually going to be since March, this is kind of crazy. Since March, I've only been on the freeway twice, and both of those times it was just to go to the one of the times was to go to Pastor Brian's house, and then one of those times was to go and go to the doctor's office. So I've only been on the freeway twice. So hopefully this will be a much more pleasant experience than going to the doctor. But I'm looking forward to just hanging out with Carolyn for the weekend and relaxing. And one of the things that we were talking about, it's interesting because our house, like the dynamic of how we view our house has really changed because we've both been working from home. So it's like we don't get that feeling of like you come home at the end of the day, after a day at work. Like we've been here all day. I've been sitting in I don't know what to call this little area. Basically, I work in the little breakfast nook area of our kitchen. So it's like I kind of just hang out in the kitchen area. And that's what I do all the time anyway. Look, I mean, come on, let's be honest. But one of the things that I like to do is like Carolyn and I want to go out and we want to do adventurous stuff, and we've been able to do things like going to the beach and things like that. But we haven't done that for a while, and I'm just really, really excited to be able to, you know, actually go on a drive that's for a significant period of time. But so one of the things that we're going to play with you guys today is the game that we tried to do last week, but we had some technical difficulties, and that was what is that number? So the way this game works is, I guess I can show you really quick. But the way it's going to work is we're going to put a number up there. I'll slide over a little bit so you can see it better. And while we play this game, I'm going to throw the questions up there. I think in the video on the quality, you guys should be able to read what it says, but I'll read it out loud too. And I do know we have a handful of people that I know we had earlier in our chat that aren't here right now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll text them while I'm doing this too. You guys know I'm not very good at multitasking. But this game is what's that number? What's going to be is, can you guess the number, or can you guess what the number on the screen represents? So basically we're going to put a number on the screen, and that number is going to represent something, and then you have to try to guess what that number is as we give you more options. So you guys will get the hang of it. We got a couple different rounds to play, so you'll figure it out. So those of you guys that are here, I'm glad you're here. So I've got 4 people in the comment section, but then I've also got 8 people watching. So if you're in the watching section, feel free to go ahead and put your name in the comments so that I know that you're here, and then we'll keep going. And then I'll text people as I see that I knew that they were here earlier, but I don't see them. So here we go. So the number is 63,360. Do you think that's A, minutes in a week, B, inches in a mile, or C, miles around the Earth at the equator? So what do you guys think? 63,360. What do you think that number represents? So A is minutes in a week. B is inches in a mile. Or C, miles around the Earth at the equator. So what do you guys think the answer to this number is? This number, what do you guys think this number is the answer to? You can go ahead and put your guesses in the comment section. And once again, I see that there's more people watching than I can see in the comment section. So if you're in the comment section, you can go ahead and let me know that you're here, so that we can go. We got a couple B's. We got a couple B. So you guys are thinking there's 63,000. Wow, numbers are hard. 360 inches in a mile. So let's see. The answer is. Did it? You guys are so smart. Is that one of those things they teach you in school? Way to go. Way to go. Good job, guys. So there are 63,360 inches in a mile, which is proof that we shouldn't be using the system that we're using. But I digress. Here we go. Next one. Here we go. What do you think is 134? Dimples on a golf ball, countries in the world, or the highest measured temperature? What do you guys think? Do you think there's 134 dimples on a golf ball, B, countries in the world, or C, highest measured temperature? And while you guys are hanging out, I don't know if you can tell, but we've got Jazz hanging out here. I'll try to get him to say hi real quick. Hey, Jazz, you want to say hi? There you go. Jazz says hi, everybody. Stretch. He was asleep. You want to say hi, Jazz? He's like, guys, leave me alone. He's grumpy. I'm usually pretty grumpy if I get woken up too. I'll go put him back to bed. It's been pretty hot though, so he earned the right to sleep. He was outside earlier today. So what do you guys think? Do you think 134 is the highest measured temperature? B, there's 134 countries in the world, or A, dimples on a golf ball? What do you guys think? And the answer is dimples on a golf ball. So a fun little fact is, yes, there are 134 dimples on a golf ball, and the kind of like there's a difference between a women's basketball and a men's basketball, right? The women's basketball is a little smaller than the men's basketball. There's also a difference between a women's golf ball and a men's golf ball. The women's golf ball still has 134 dimples, but they're a little smaller, right? So, fun little piece of information. Okay, next one. Okay. So, what do you think the answer 6,514 is to? Do you think it's A, the number of windows in the Empire State Building, B, Chick-fil-A locations in the United States, or C, kinds of insects? Do you guys think that there's 6,514 windows in the Empire State Building, or do you think there's 6,514 Chick-fil-A locations in the United States, or do you think the answer is C, 6,514 kinds of insects? What do you guys think? How many of each of those do you think there are? Or not how many of each of those do you think there are? Which one do you think that there is actually 6,514 to? So we got a couple A's, B. Okay, here we go. Let's see the answer to this one. So once again, I apologize. I'm also trying to text the people who are having trouble getting in right now as well. So the answer is A, windows in the Empire State Building. Man, can you imagine if your job was to clean the windows of the Empire State Building? Like, it would just be nonstop window cleaning, right? 6,514. That would be insane. That would be quite the project. So that is quite the difficult situation. So yeah, Caleb, you shouldn't be asking Siri for the answers to your questions. These are also confusingly worded, thus probably making it more difficult for Siri to figure out what you're trying to figure out. So good to know that Caleb's cheating. Okay, anybody else? Here we go. 28,800 gallons of water in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. B, babies born every minute. Or C, times a day, an average person blinks their eyes. So what do you guys think? How many do you think people blink their eyes 28,000 times a minute? Or do you think they have 28,800 babies born? Or do you think there's 28,000 gallons of water in an Olympic-sized swimming pool? So, A, gallons of water in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. And it's kind of funny. Carolyn and I were watching a TV show. It may have been last night or 2 nights ago, but it was like one of those shows where they have somebody show people around really nice houses, and the realtor like goes out in the backyard and says, and it has an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Both Carolyn and I swam in high school, and both of our immediate response was like, "That's not an Olympic-sized swimming pool." It's like, that's not big enough, because Olympic-sized swimming pools are huge. They're 50 meters long. So, like, the school pool that most of you guys are used to is half the size of an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Some of them can even be, so that's a lot of water. Good job. Most of you guys thought it was blinking, so we fooled you on that one. Okay, that's a big number. 31,536,000 websites on the internet. Number always growing. B, seconds in a year. So So do you think there's 31,536,000 seconds in a year? Or do you think that's how much a cruise ship costs? That's an expensive boat. So what do you guys think? Do you think there's 31 million websites on the internet, 31 million seconds in a year, or $31 million is how much it costs for a cruise ship? So for those of you guys that are just now joining us, glad you could make it. I apologize for any complications getting onto the site. So let's check out the answer for this one. The answer is 31,000 seconds in a year. So 31,536,000 seconds in a year. So we are only spending a fraction of that with our hanging out today. So here we go. Next one. 46,876. Do you guys think there's 46,876 words in Gone with the Wind, which is an old movie? Do you guys think there's 46,876 lakes in the United States? Or do you guys think there are 46,836 miles of interstate? And I know later today, Carolyn and I are going to be spending 200 miles, not 200, maybe like 90 miles on the road, which is exciting. So well done on your last one. But what do you guys think the answer is to this one? 46,876. Get your answers in. C, B. I have no idea on this one. Here we go. The answer is miles of U.S. interstate. That's impressive. That is a lot of distance. So good job for those of you guys that got that one right. Here we go. We got a couple more. 2,722. Do you think that's the tallest building in the world, which I drew last week, which would be the Burj Khalifa? Do you think that's U.S. airline flights per day? Or do you think that's C, the average weight of an elephant? 2,722. So what do you guys think? Do you think you got A, B, or C? So good job for those of you guys. You're doing a pretty decent job so far getting your answers correct. You guys are good at this game. So A, B, C, 2,722 is the tallest building in the world. So good job for, did anybody get that one right? Yeah, Aiden, Sheridan, good job, guys. Next one. 108. 108 steps at the U.S. Capitol. 108 stitches on a baseball. Or 108 marshmallows to make a pound. So what do you guys think? 108. I feel like 108 marshmallows would weigh more than a pound, but I guess that is somewhat relative to the size of the marshmallow. But what do you guys think? 108 steps at the U.S. Capitol, 108 stitches laced on a baseball, or C, 108 marshmallows to make a pound? So here we go. We got A, B, C. Well, somebody's guaranteed to get this one right because we got an answer from everybody on all, at least one person answering each one on all of them. So I'm glad for those of you that were a little wayward, you've managed to make your way into our group today. We're still missing a couple from the first group, but I'm going to just hang out with you guys and tell them they can watch the recording if they want. But so the answer to this one is there are 108 stitches on a baseball. So for those of you guys that have sporting equipment at home, the two things you need to go count are you need to count all the dimples on a golf ball, which sounds like a heck of a lot of work, but it's doable. I would say maybe take a golf ball and then maybe count, and every time you count one, put a Sharpie mark in the middle of it or something and count your Sharpie, or count the number of times you mark it, because there's no way to not get lost while trying to count dimples on a golf ball. So 134 dimples on a golf ball, 108 stitches on a baseball. Let's hear what our next number is. Good job for everybody that got B on that one. 31,102. What do you guys think? Are there 31,102 verses in the Bible? 31,102 is the deepest depth of the ocean in feet? Or C, 31,102 television commercials a day? What do you guys think the answer to that one is? We've got an A, 31,000 verses in the Bible, 31,000 deepest spot in the ocean in feet, or C, television commercials in a day. Good job getting your answers in. We got A, B, and C. I love it when we get at least one person answering every single question with a different answer, because then one, we can guarantee somebody got it right. Two, we can guarantee somebody got it wrong. And three, that means the game is well designed. Here we go. 31,102 is A, verses in the Bible. So I've got news for you guys. I don't think Pastor John or Pastor Brian would have been able to tell you. Well, they may have been able to say that, yeah, there's 31,102 verses in the Bible. They like from this option, but I'm willing to bet if we were to go up to them and ask them how many verses were in their Bible, their answer would probably just be a lot or a significant number. So let's check out this next one. I think we got two more. So 365 million, that's what that number is, 365 million cells in the average human body. B, McDonald's French fries sold worldwide daily. I feel like there's more. 365 million miles to Jupiter at its closest to Earth. What do you guys think? 365 million cells in the human body, 365 million McDonald's French fries sold every day, or C, 365 million miles to Jupiter at its closest spot to the Earth. Okay, we got a couple in there. We got quite a few people saying that that is the distance to Jupiter. Quite a few people saying that is the distance to Jupiter. The answer is... You guys are so smart. That is a nice round number as well. 365 million, 365 days in a year. So 365 million miles is the closest we get to be to Jupiter. So it's a long ways away. Okay, here we go. Last one. 5,500 is the Great Wall of China's length in miles. 5,500 is cars per hour that go across the Golden Gate Bridge. Or 5,500 average feathers on a bald eagle. So do you think there's 5,500 miles on the Great Wall of China, 5,500 cars that go across the Golden Gate Bridge an hour, or 5,500 feathers on a bald eagle? Which, if the answer is C, that's not very bald. I probably don't even have 5,000 hairs on my head. I've developed a nice little bald spot too. So what do you guys think the answer is? And once again, I'm glad those of you that, the first link, so the problem I had was it got flagged from our, when I was posting a children's program earlier as a children's program, and children's programs don't allow comments in the comment section, so I forgot to get my settings changed over, so I had to restart. So glad you guys made it in with us. Glad you're here. So what do you guys think? 5,500 miles in the Great Wall of China, 5,500 cars cross the Golden Gate Bridge, or 5,500 feathers on a bald eagle's head? What do you guys think the answer is? Okay, so everybody that answered A, I see Emily, Sheridan, Aiden, Caleb, good job, guys. Everybody, I know some of you guys are already giving yourselves a hand. during the game when you were getting answers correct. Go ahead and give yourself a round of applause. Great job. So I'm one of those people that I'm not very good with numbers. Some people are really good with numbers and they remember. They're like, some of you guys played this game and you're going to remember all of these answers forever. And I forgot pretty much all of them. At this point, I can still remember Jupiter is 365 million miles from Earth at its closest point. I can remember, and this is just because I play golf, that there's 134 dimples on a golf ball. And at this point, I can remember that there's 108 laces on a baseball. But the chances of me remembering that tomorrow are not very good. Everything else is wiped from my memory at this point. So good job for those of you guys that learned something. I'm glad you had a good time. So as you guys head into the holiday weekend, I just wanted to touch base with you really quick. Granted, it's been a little longer than originally planned because it took us a few minutes to get situated. My bad. So as I shared earlier, we're hoping to start doing small group gatherings at the church, not inside the church, but at the church, out in the courtyard or out in the field. So we'll start doing that after the 14th of September. So that's this month. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks, we'll be having an event for you guys where you can actually get together, hang out. Amy Wozni had an awesome idea to do a time playing croquet out in the grassy area down in the lower parking lot. So I think that would be a fun thing for us to do, to just get together, just gather, because we haven't done that in forever. Once again, even though we'll be able to gather to get together, we'll still have to do all of the normal protocols that we're doing in this season, such as everybody will have to wear a mask, and we'll have to check your temperatures and make sure that all that stuff is good to go. We want to gather together, but then we also want to make sure that everybody's safe. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks, I'll be able to see you guys in person, and it's been forever since I've done that. So one of these things with all of the numbers that I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about is, I don't know about you guys, one of the things, honestly, I would say I'm pretty good at this. Is I'm not a person that worries a lot, right? Some of you guys know this, may be you, or you have friends that, people worry about everything. And in the Bible, it talks about who of you by worrying can add a minute to your life, right? And just this idea that we spend a lot of time being anxious about stuff. And, biblically, I think it's pretty much a global situation is that people worry, right? There's a reason it's in the Bible multiple times. There's a reason we all have friends that struggle with it, is because it's a common thing. It's a common struggle. And for those of you that are like me, that don't worry a lot, one of the things that we have to recognize is that sometimes us not worrying can cause other people anxiety. And that doesn't mean that they have a problem. It just means that we need to make sure that we are operating in a healthy situation. So one of the things that's been caused a lot of conflict amidst COVID is the whole mask thing, or some people I don't think we should have to wear a mask, or I think we should wear a mask. It's the reality of it is it's not the end of the world if you wear a mask, but there are some people that are really afraid of what's going on. So by you wearing a mask, it just helps ease their worries. But also the Bible tells us a lot about worrying. Like I said, it says who by worrying can add a day to their life, right, or an hour to their life. Is worrying isn't going to increase your longevity. And one of the things, I've told you guys this story early on, is one of my favorite things to do is I love jumping off of cliffs into water, right? My entire life, I've been jumping off of stuff, off of boats, off of diving boards. I was that kid. Get me the highest high dive, I'm off, I'm gone, right? And pretty much my entire lifetime I've been doing that. Lots of cool pictures of me jumping off of high things into water. I've been doing it my entire life since I was a kid, right? And then I got married, and one of our first conflicts was I just happened to see something that I could jump off of that was really high into the water, and I kind of just went for it. Right? And it was one of those things Well, my entire life, I see something I want to jump off into water, I just go for it, right? And then Carolyn and I had to have the conversation of, it takes me a few seconds less to decide I'm going to jump off of something than it does for Carolyn to decide if she's okay with me jumping off of something. So it doesn't mean that I'm no longer allowed to do those things, but it means that I now have to take those things into consideration before I do them. So one of the things that that I want you guys to remember over the next coming weeks is, life starts to transition a little bit. Maybe you have the opportunity to hang out with people. Maybe you have the opportunity to go be places where you haven't been before. I want you guys to remember that the way that we act can have an impact on the people around us, right? The way that we behave can have an impact on the people around us. So like me, does me jumping off of stuff into water directly affect Carolyn? Not necessarily, unless I was to get hurt, but it does give Carolyn anxiety. So I want you guys to think about, what can you be doing in these coming weeks as people are starting to get to be able to hang out, to make people feel comfortable, right? To make people feel good, make people feel welcome. So we as a church, we are doing everything that we can so that whenever somebody comes to our church, whenever somebody comes to our campus, they feel comfortable, right? They feel like we are doing everything we can to make sure that they're safe, right? And you guys, some of you guys might think that it's dumb. Some of you guys might think it's lame that you have to do all of these things, that you're not allowed to be at school. But I want you guys to know that the sacrifices that you guys are making are giving other people peace, right? And one of the things that it talks about in the Bible is it frequently talks about the peace of God is different than the peace of the world. So for those of you guys that are anxious about things, that are worrying about what life is going to look like, maybe you guys might be like me in the thought of having to do school online. You view that as a struggle, as something that might be difficult for you. Because for me, I like being with people for the classroom setting. I want to be sitting at a desk. I want to be looking at the teacher. Because if I'm doing it at home, I might, zone out. I might not be as disciplined as I would be if I was on campus. So for those, you might have some anxiety about that. Some of you guys are transitioning from middle school into high school. Some of you guys are transitioning from high school into college. And you have all sorts of things that are making you anxious. So one of the things that it talks about in the Bible a lot is in our anxiety, or when you get feelings of anxiousness, present that anxiety to God, right? For me, I'm one of those people that sometimes when I verbalize something, it makes a whole lot more sense to me. Like I might be sitting here thinking about something and not really knowing how I feel. But then when I say it out loud, there is power in that moment when I realize, oh, that's what is going on. That's why I feel this way. That is why, that's why I felt anxious, was because of this. It's hard to completely label. So one of the things I want you guys, I guess those are three things I want you guys to keep track of over the next couple of weeks is, one, recognize that our behavior has an impact on the people around us, and let's do everything we can to make the people around us feel at ease, right? So for me, that meant, telling Carolyn, like, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. I'm thinking about going and jumping off of this cliff into the water. How do you feel about that? Let's talk about it. Let's see. Let's go explore. What does that look like? B, when we have two, I guess I shouldn't change from letters to numbers. Two is that if you are feeling anxious about something, if you're feeling worried about, what your school is looking like, what your life is looking like, talk to someone, right? If you're anxious, it's okay to go up to somebody and just share, this is how this is making me feel. Not only has COVID-19 had an impact on a lot of people's ability to go do things, it's also had an impact on people's mental and emotional health. So if you guys are struggling with your emotional well-being, seek out somebody that's wise. Seek out a parent or a close friend or a leader. Myself, Carolyn, Pastor John, Amy's with us, my mom, right? When we're struggling, it's really important for us to, one, not just internalize it and keep it to ourselves, but reach out and talk with people. So that's one of the reasons I've been trying to be in contact with the students as much as possible, because I know this is a tough season. And then third, go to God with it, right? Go to God with it and just know that He cares for you, right? One of the things, it's really easy for us to feel like we are alone. And by verbalizing how we feel to God, one, it's not that God doesn't know how we feel already, but it's an exercise that we can do in order for us to personally process it, right? I'm a verbal processor, so sometimes talking to God about something that I'm struggling with brings me to a place where I have a better understanding of what I'm struggling with, but then it also brings me closer to God. So those are 3 things that you guys can do over the next couple of weeks as we transition to a new life, right? Not necessarily back to normal life, because we don't know what the new normal is, so we're not going to call it normal, but we're going to go into a new season of life, and God's going to make good things come out of it. So I love you guys. I miss you guys. I look forward to seeing you again soon. See if I can't shoot out the camera this week. Love you guys. Bye. Boom. See you later. I'm getting better at this game.